Hi friends, today we are going to discuss JIB Principles and Practices of Banking, Unit 4, Role of Money Markets, Fixed Income Markets, Forex Markets, and FEMA. Already we have discussed part 1 of this unit. Now we will discuss part 2 of this unit. Government securities are issued by the government for raising a public loan or as notified in the official gazette. Here, whenever government requires money, the government issues government securities. By using these government securities, government can take loan from the public. Here, public buy government securities and government take money from the public. By using official gazette also, government can raise money from the public. Now we will see the picture of official gazette. Gazette Bharat Rajpatra, the gazette of India. By using this official gazette, government can raise money from public. They consist of government promissory notes, bearer bonds, stocks, or bond held in bond ledger account. Here, using these promissory notes, bearer bonds, stocks, or bonds, government can raise money from the public. Now we will discuss what is promissory notes. Promissory notes are nothing but they are written document of promise. Here the money will be paid either on demand or on specific date. In promissory note, we have payer and payee. Payer is the person who gives the money to the payee. Payee is the person who borrows the money. This is promissory note. In promissory note, everything is mentioned like amount, date, place, who is the person who is giving the money, and who is the person who is taking money, and witness names also mentioned in promissory notes. Bearer bonds. In bearer bonds, the owner name is not recorded in the record register. For example, one person is there. If this person buys bearer bond, if this person lost this bearer bond on the road, for example, another person is there. For example, this person got this bond on the road. So here the real owner of the bond is this person. In bearer bonds, presently whoever has the bond in their hands is the real owner of the bond. Stocks are nothing but those are the stocks which are there in the equity market, like stock market stocks. Bonds are nothing but debt instruments. By using these bonds, the government can raise money from the public. Normally these bonds are issued at discount rate, means bond face value equals to 100 rupees. Normally this bond is issued to the public at 98 rupees. For example, here the bond maturity period is, for example, 1 month. Here the customer is getting 2 rupees interest by investing 98 rupees for 1 month. So this procedure is called bonds are issued at discount rate. Bond ledger account. Normally government issues so many bonds in the markets. So government maintains one ledger book of these bonds. They may be in the form of treasury bills, dated government securities. Treasury bills. Treasury bills are nothing but short-term money market instruments. Here normally we have treasury bills of 91 days, 182 days, and 364 days treasury bills. Here these treasury bills are issued normally at a discount rate. For example, we have a 100 rupees treasury bill for 91 days. If the face value of the bill equals to 100 rupees, this is issued to the public at discount rate. For example, issued at 98 rupees. Here, the customer is getting 2 rupees interest after 91 days by purchasing this treasury bill. So here this process is nothing but treasury bills are issued at discount rate. Government securities are mostly interest bearing dated securities issued by RBI on behalf of the Government of India. Here government securities are normally interest bearing securities. Normally these government securities are issued by RBI on behalf of governments. Government of India uses these funds to meet its expenditure commitments. These securities are generally fixed maturity and fixed coupon securities carrying semi-annual coupon. Since the date of maturity is specified in the securities, these are known as dated government securities. Normally, government securities are issued by the government in order to meet its expenditure commitments. Here, these government securities are fixed maturity and fixed coupon rate. Here, this fixed coupon rate is nothing but rate of interest. So, here every government security has some fixed maturity. That's why these securities are called dated government securities. We'll discuss with one example. One government security is there which value equals to face value equals to 1 lakh rupees. If it is issued at fixed coupon rate, fixed coupon rate is nothing but rate of interest. For example, rate of interest is 6%. Only rate of interest is paid semi-annually. So here the customer is getting 6,000 rupees per year. So here interest is paying semi-annually. So here the customer gets 3,000 rupees for every half yearly. Here at the time of maturity, the customer gets only face value because the government already paying the interest semi-annually. Government securities have the following features. Issued at face value. Every government security is issued at face value. Already we have discussed 1 lakh bond is issued. So here the face value is the maturity value issued at 1 lakh rupees. So at the end of the term also the customer is getting only 1 lakh rupees. Here the interest is paid on semi-annually. No default risk as the securities carry sovereign guarantee. Here the government is behind these government securities. That's why there is no loss of funds. Ample liquidity as the investor can sell the securities in the secondary market. These government securities are backed by the government. So by seeing government names, any person is ready to buy these government securities. That's why these government securities we can sell in the secondary market very easily, and whenever we want the money we can take our money back. So here government securities are having so much liquidity. Interest payment on a half yearly basis on face value. So every government security is issued at face value. So here by using coupon rate, these government securities are interest paid semi and deducted at source. First we will discuss what is TDS, tax deduction at source. For example, one bank is there, one bank is paying some interest to the customers because this customer has invested some fixed deposit in the bank. There is some threshold limit. For normal citizen 40,000, for senior citizens it is 50,000. If this customer interest crosses these threshold limits, then the bank debits some amount from this customer interest and pays this amount to the Government of India. So this is nothing but TDS. In government securities we need not to pay any TDS. Can be held in demat form. Normally these government securities we hold in demat form, nothing but electronic form. So we can sell these government securities in the online whenever we want the money, and by selling we can get the money very easily. Corporate bonds are debt securities issued by the private and public corporations. Here, whenever a public or private corporations want to raise money from the public, they issue corporate bonds. By using those corporate bonds, these public and private companies raise money from the public in the form of loans. Company issue corporate bonds to raise money for a variety of purposes such as building a new plant, purchasing equipment, or growing the business. When one buys a corporate bond, one lends money to the issuer, the company that issued the bond. Normally, corporate companies issue corporate bonds for a variety of purposes such as in order to build new plant or purchase equipment or growing the business. So whenever one company is there, this company issues the corporate bonds to customer. Here this company is called issuer, and this person is taking the corporate bond and is giving money to the company. In exchange, the company promises to return the money, also known as principal, on specific maturity date. Until that date, the company usually pays you a stated rate of interest, generally semi-annually. For example, one company is there, one person is there. This company issues the corporate bonds to this customer. Here, every corporate bond has some maturity period. Till that maturity period, this company pays interest to this person semi-annually. While a corporate bond gives an IOU from the company, it does not have an ownership interest in the issuing company, unlike when one purchases the company's equity stock. For example, one company is there C1, another company is there C2. If this company issues equities and raise money from the public, if this company issues corporate bond and raise money from the public, here the person who buys this equities is interested in the company ownership. The person who buys this corporate bond is not interested in the company's ownership, he is interested in only the interest earned by this bond. Interest rate swap is a liquid financial derivative instrument in which two parties agree to exchange interest rate cash flows based on a specific notional amount from a fixed rate to a floating rate, or vice versa, or from one floating rate to another. Now we will discuss an interest rate swap with an example. One bank is there. This bank lends 1 crore to company A at floating rate interest, and this bank also lends to company B same 1 crore rupees at fixed interest rate. Here, for example, this floating rate interest equals to LIBOR plus 2. We assume that present LIBOR rate is 7%. So here total interest is 7 plus 2, 9%. This company has to pay 9% interest to this bank. Here, for example, this company borrowed same 1 crore rupees from this bank at 10% interest. Here this company is paying 9% interest and this company is paying 10% interest. It is a fixed interest, but this company is floating rate interest. Whenever the LIBOR value change, the interest rate will be changed. For example, the company B thinks that in future LIBOR rate may reduce, so if I change it to fixed rate to floating rate, I will get some interest benefit. So here this company B is interested in the floating rate interest. Here the company A is think that in future the LIBOR rate may increase. Because of LIBOR rate, the rate of interest which borrows on floating rate is also increases. So the company A thinks that it is better for me if I go for fixed interest rate. Here they both have borrowed same 1 crore rupees. B borrowed at fixed rate interest and A borrowed at floating rate interest. So here A is interested in fixed rate interest and B is interested in floating rate interest. So here these two companies exchange their interest rate between them. Here company A pays floating rate interest to company B. Company B pays fixed interest to company A. This is nothing but interest rate swap. An interest rate future is a financial derivative, a futures contract with an interest bearing instrument as the underlying asset. It is particular type of interest rate derivative. Interest rate derivatives are normally backed by assets. For example, we have a bond and we want to sell this bond after 3 months, and we think that the bond rate may reduce after 3 months. So what we will do, we will do some future agreement with some broker. So this future agreement is nothing but interest rate future. All interest rate futures are backed by the asset, normally bonds or treasury bills. LIBOR or ICE LIBOR, previously BBA LIBOR, is a benchmark rate that some of the world's leading banks charge each other for short-term loans. LIBOR is also called as a ICE LIBOR, or previously it is known as a BBA LIBOR. ICE means Intercontinental Exchange and BBA means British Bankers Association. Here LIBOR stands for London Interbank Offered Rate. Here, using this LIBOR only, the world's leading banks borrow money from other banks. So, for example, in India we have SBI Bank. In China we have People's Bank of China. If SBI want to borrow money from the People's Bank of China for short period, so here the SBI uses the LIBOR rate. Using this LIBOR rate only, the SBI can borrow the money from the People's Bank of China. It stands for Intercontinental Exchange London Interbank Offered Rate and serves as the first step to calculating the interest rates on various loans throughout the world. Here, using this ICE LIBOR only throughout the world, we can calculate the interest rates. LIBOR is administered by ICE Benchmark Administration. ICE is nothing but Intercontinental Exchange. LIBOR is only based on 5 major currencies. Those are US dollar, euro, pound sterling, Japanese yen and Swiss franc. Here, ICE Benchmark Administration asks major banks that at what rate they want to lend or at what rate they want to borrow money from the market. For example, we have 3 banks. This bank say that I want to lend at 8%. For example, another bank says that I want to lend at 9%. Another bank says that I want to borrow money from the market at 7%. Here, ICE benchmark will calculate the weighted average like this. Here total equals to 8 plus 9 plus 7. Here we are having totally 3 banks equals to 24 by 3. So here we are getting 8%. So this 8% interest is nothing but weighted average interest. This weighted average interest, now we can say that it is a LIBOR. Using this LIBOR only, in the world the major banks can borrow money from the other, or the world major banks lend money to other. It serves 7 different maturities: overnight, 1 week, and 1, 2, 3, 6, and 12 months. There are a total of 35 different LIBOR rates each business day. The most commonly quoted rate is the 3-month US dollar rate. Here in LIBOR rates, we have different LIBORs: overnight LIBOR, 1 week LIBOR, 1 month LIBOR, 2 months LIBOR, 3 months LIBOR, 6 month LIBOR and 12 months LIBORs. There are totally 35 different LIBOR rates are there for each business day, and the most commonly quoted LIBOR rate is 3-month US dollar rate. The Mumbai Interbank Offered Rate MIBOR is calculated every day by the National Stock Exchange of India as a weighted average of lending rates of a group of banks on funds lent to first class borrowers. Here, National Stock Exchange India Limited calculates the MIBOR. MIBOR is nothing but Mumbai Interbank Offered Rate. Here, on every day, the NSE asks major 30 banks in India at what rate they want to lend or at what rate they want to borrow money from the market, and NSE is also asked primary dealers data. NSE will calculate weighted average, and that weighted average interest is nothing but MIBOR rate. Using this MIBOR rate only, the banks can lend money to the other banks or the banks can lend money to the first class borrowers. This is the interest rate at which banks can borrow funds in marketable size from other banks in the Indian interbank market. Indian interbank market is nothing but there are so many banks in the Indian market. Here one bank lends to another bank and one bank borrows from other bank. This is borrowing and lending among the banks is nothing but Indian interbank market. Here in Indian interbank markets, banks can borrow or banks can lend using only MIBOR interest rate. The MIBOR was launched on June 15, 1998 by the Committee for the Development of the Debt Market as an overnight rate. In initial days, we did not have any benchmark rate for borrowing the money from the market for overnight. So, here in 1998, a committee recommended a benchmark rate. That rate is nothing but MIBOR rate. The NSEIL launched the 14-day MIBOR on November 10, 1998 and the 1 month and 3 month MIBORs on December 1st, 1998. Here in MIBORs we have different MIBORs. 14 days MIBOR was launched on November 10, 1998 and 1 month and 3 month MIBORs were launched on December 1st, 1998. Since the launch, MIBOR rates have been used as a benchmark rates for the majority of money market deals made in India. In India, we do so many money market deals such as interest rate swaps, forward rate agreement, floating rate debentures, and term deposits. All these deals use the MIBOR rates in order to calculate their interest. Foreign Exchange Management Act FEMA 1999 is applicable to the whole of India. Any branch, office and agency which is situated outside India but is owned or controlled by a person residing in India. Here FEMA is applicable to the entire India. For example, any branch or office and agency is there which is situated outside India but is this owned by Indian person. So this is office also controlled by the FEMA. FEMA mainly controls the foreign transactions. For example, a person is residing in India and he want to send some money to American person. So here he can send up to some certain limit and more than that limit he is unable to send. So this is limit is set by the FEMA. Here this American person want to send some money to India and he can send up to certain limit, more than that limit he is unable to send. So here the limit was also set by the Foreign Exchange Management Act. Here the Foreign Exchange Management Act mainly covers the foreign exchange transactions and this is controlled by the FEMA Act by the RBI. I have recently started this channel. Please support me by liking, sharing and subscribing my channel and share your feedback in comment section. That is very helpful for me to improve my classes. Thank you.